Foodie Fam, let's make lentil meatballs.
The recipe today requires very minimum chopping and dicing. So we're just gonna start off here and kind of just get it over with. So I'm going to chop up an onion. This is going to be going into our meatball mixture. And we're going to be using a food processor to make our meatballs. So the onions don't have to be, uniformed or anything like that. So I'm just gonna give them a rough chop. Probably gonna end up using maybe all of this onion. So just in case, I'm going to cut this other half too. I'm also going to remove the skin of some garlic cloves. That smashing was a little bit aggressive, if I do say so myself, but the cloves separated, so that's good. So I'm just going to smash them individually to easily remove the skin. And that's all we're doing with the garlic because, again, everything is going to the food processor. So the food processor is going to be doing the majority of the work for us. So I changed my mind. I'm actually going to give it a bit of a rough chop just so the flavors kind of evenly distribute through our meatballs. I have my pasta water boiling on the stove, so I'm going to cook my pasta now, following the cooking directions on the box to make it al dente. I'm using this pasta because that's what I have in the house, but you can use whole wheat pasta, you can use brown rice pasta, quinoa pasta, any type that you'd like, but this is what I'm using today. I'm using some store-bought jarred tomato sauce. So I kind of want to add a little bit more flavor to that because sometimes, these sauces really aren't as great as they could be. And I have some celery and carrots to get rid of in my fridge anyway. So I'm just going to cut these into small dices to kind of like sneak into my tomato sauce for added flavor, added nutrients, and just a little bit more pizzazz to that jarred sauce. And if you are, a parent and you have kids, this is probably the perfect way to kind of like sneak some vegetables into your kids' food. And if that's the case, I would suggest cooking down, the carrots and the celery, and then adding it to a blender to puree it before putting it into the tomato sauce. As of late, I have been obsessed with eating lentils, and because I am obsessed, I'm always thinking about different ways to make lentils just so that it is more interesting to eat, and it's not just in its natural state in terms of like form and flavor. So I came up with this idea for lentil meatballs, kind of to just give me something different. If you've seen some of my videos, I've made shepherd's pie using lentils. I've made lentil burgers and all the things. So I am so excited to make these meatballs because right now I'm actually starving. So this is going to be my lunch. I am just slicing these carrots also into small dices because nobody wants big old chunks of carrots in their tomato sauce to eat with their pasta. So we're just, cutting it down into smaller, kind of like cubes, I guess. And if you are doing this and you're not too confident in your knife skills, just be mindful of your fingers because I would hate for you to injure yourself just trying to cut, carrots smaller. What I really love about lentils is that it is high in protein, fiber, and iron. So, every time I'm eating them, I'm getting that, nutritional boost that I need to, sustain myself throughout the day. And that's always a plus, And I know a lot of people are always concerned about, how they would get their protein in a plant-based lifestyle. And there you have it, some lentils. And there are many other things as well, but since today's star of the show is lentils, I'm just gonna talk about lentils. But if you wanted to, you know, kind of learn more things about where you could get certain nutrients like, you know, protein, iron, fiber, etc., feel free to join my newsletter where I talk about that on a weekly basis every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to put the link in the description below to where you could sign up to be a part of my newsletter. It's very fun, very exciting, and full of important information that you would need to confidently start a plant-based lifestyle if that's what you're trying to do. So I'll definitely put that in my description below. Just like that, all of our chopping is done, so let's start assembling our meatballs. Today's recipe does require a food processor, so that's what I'm using. So to it, I'm gonna add in some cooked lentils. So I cooked this, you know, ahead of time. It took about 40 minutes to cook, and I used the 2-to-1 ratio. So for every 1 cup of lentils, you use 2 cups of water. So I let that simmer until everything is softened. So I'm adding that. Then I'm adding in our rough chopped onions and garlic. And just spread that around in here. Some tomato paste. Am I the only one who doesn't like when tomato paste is in a can as opposed to in a squeezable, you know, tube that you could, you know, recover and put into the fridge? Because I feel like, you know, you never use a whole can of tomato paste in a decent amount of time before it spoils. So it's like all tomato paste should be in tubes, in my opinion. Then I'm going in with some Panko breadcrumbs, which is going to act as our binder. A flax egg, which is literally just ground up flaxseed meal and water. So this was 1 tablespoon of flax meal to 3 tablespoons of water. And I let that sit in the fridge for 15 minutes. And then you have an egg. Yeah, an egg replacement. Pour that in as well. Of course, we're going in with some seasonings. I have some nutritional yeast in here, some onion, garlic, smoked paprika, salt, cayenne pepper, oregano, and I think that's it. Of course, I'm gonna put the actual recipe in the description below. So we're going in with that. Then I'm going to put in some sage. I dried these out myself, so I'm probably just gonna put in maybe like 3 to 4 leaves, just, you know, just like that. I'm gonna squish it and just sprinkle it around in there. And then I'm gonna put in some parsley that I also dried myself. I'm just gonna pull it, squeeze it too, and just let it do its thing in there. Now we're just going to cover this and pulsate it until everything is smooth and incorporated. I'm gonna move this mixture now to a bowl and kind of just play around with the consistency a little bit so I'm able to form it into meatballs. I'm probably going to add in some more Panko breadcrumbs. And if that doesn't tighten everything up, I may put in some flour. But we'll see. You know, everything is kind of like trial and error when it comes to, you know, making meatballs and stuff like that. So we're gonna figure it out in real time. My lentil mixture is to the consistency that I like now. I did end up using Panko breadcrumbs and some flour. So now I'm going to take a small scooper, scoop out the mixture, put it in my hand, and then roll it into a ball. And just put it on a sheet pan. So behind me on my stove, I have some oil heating up in a pan, and we're going to shallow fry or sear these meatballs until they are golden brown. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I finish with the mixture. And I really enjoy this type of repetition. For me, it's kind of like therapeutic. And I just love uniformity in general. So yeah, I'll be here doing this for the next few minutes. Can you guess how many meatballs I get out of this mixture? I'm gonna put in my guess now and think it's going to be 3 dozen. So we'll see if I'm right. I was so close yet so far, guys. So this meatball here would make my 3 dozen, and I still have a little bit left in here. So I was really close, but not that close. So I'm just going to take these meatballs and put it in the fridge for a few minutes just to let it set a little bit before I fry them up. My oil is nice and hot, so I'm just gonna take my meatballs and just carefully place them into the pan. And we're just gonna fry them up on each side until everything is golden. When cooking these meatballs, I'm using a low and slow method because I really want to get a nice crust on the meatballs. And I'm also going in with my fish spatula because it is bendy and it's usually used to help flip delicate things. And if you do want to get your own fish spatula, I do have it linked in my Amazon online store that showcases all my favorite Amazon finds. And as an Amazon associate, I do earn from qualifying purchases, so I'll put that link in the description as well. So we're gonna take the fish spatula and gently get under the meatball and just, come on, and flip it. And this is the type of color that I'm looking for. So it's probably going to be about 6 to 8 minutes on each side to achieve this golden color. My meatballs are golden and crispy, so now we're gonna go and quickly make our jarred sauce taste a little better. So to the same pan that we were frying our meatballs in, with the excess oil, we're just gonna put in our celery and carrots. And saute this up until they have softened. I'm going in with a little bit of dried oregano too. We're just gonna keep on cooking this down. Now I'm going in with a little bit of red wine to deglaze with. You don't need a lot, and if you are alcohol free, you could either skip this step entirely, or you could use grape juice or red wine vinegar to deglaze with. And we just let this cook down for a little bit and all the alcohol will cook out of it. I'm dumping in my jarred sauce now, and because this is garlic flavored already, I don't have to do too much in terms of like adding much spices to it. So I'm just going to incorporate all of this together and let my sauce heat up. I'm adding in a few dabs of cayenne pepper just to make it a spicy tomato sauce and also for the health benefits of cayenne pepper. To me, jarred sauce could be a bit acidic and bitter. So in order to cut that, I'm going to put in some plant-based butter, and that'll help cut down on the acidity. My sauce is to my liking now, so I'm going to take my cooked pasta and we're just going to gently fold it into the sauce and then move over to my favorite part of these videos, which is the plating. I have my pasta bowl here, so I'm gonna get my pasta, just give it one last mix. I'm gonna pile on the bottom. I personally love my pasta to be real saucy. And then I'm going to take a few of my lentil meatballs. And there you have it, my lentil meatballs. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, healthy does not mean boring. See you next time.